Your ego is the number one reason why you aren't manifesting your SP, why you aren't manifesting the money that you want. Your ego is that voice that is constantly bickering at you for every single little mistake that you do. So, how do you get rid of it? Well, listen to that title of this freaking video. God state. God state is when you understand that you are not the mind, that you are not the body. You are just the observer of the mind and the body. So when you understand that, you understand that everything you perceive is separate from you. Even the reflection in the mirror is not you. The person who you see going to your 9 to 5 every single day is not you. How can it be you if you're observing it? And how can the voice in your head be you if you're listening to it? I don't play a Pink Floyd album and say, oh, look, that's me in the first grade. No. So why are we doing the same thing with ego? Why are we identifying with everything? Now, here's the way this works, okay? I'm not here to tell you that if you commit a crime, then you can tell the judge, well, that wasn't me because Neil Arthos said that I'm not the mind or the body, and my body was the one that shot that guy. No, I'm not necessarily saying that. You will face consequences in the physical realm. But you see, just same way that you have been identifying with the person that you see in the mirror every single day of your life for these first 20 plus years of your life is the same way that you can identify with something else that you perceive for the remaining 30, 40, 50 plus years of your life. So just like the same way that you thought that you were this identity and you believed it with conviction is the same way that you can look in another state of awareness and see a different identity and believe that you are that person. And no, I'm not talking about looks maxing clavicular style. I'm not talking about going to the gym. Okay? I'm talking about going up here, looking in your imagination, seeing yourself as the person worthy of getting that specific person, of having that financial freedom, of having that body, right? But even stuff like physical appearance changes and specific persons, right? What is it that you really want? Do you want that person so that way you can feel loved? Do you want that physical appearance change so that way you can feel attractive? Because you see, I don't want to be that coach to tell you like it's not really the specific person that you need to manifest. It's the feeling. No, you can still get that specific person, but I'm just telling you the facts. I have clients currently who they wanted a specific person, and then they come to find out they wanted something else. And not in a way of like, oh, well, I guess I'll settle for the bronze medal instead of the gold. No. It's for them shifting to that reality where they are the God version of themselves, and they realize, I don't want that anymore, right? And by the way, before you are like, hey, wait, well, you're supposed to tell me how to step into my God state. Technically speaking, if you actually understood what I just said at the beginning of this video, you just entered God state. Okay, it doesn't actually mean, guys, that you are going to turn into Hercules. Okay, it means that you just understand that you're not human and that you are not limited to human faculties, and that even if, you get a knock on the door, right, and they tell you, you're getting evicted, that is not your true essence. You are not the emotions of that eviction. You're not the emotions of that rejection. You're not the emotions of that lack of financial freedom. You are not, because think about that for a second. When you have that feeling of lack, when you have that feeling of, I don't get the attention that I want from that hot girl with the big ass at the gym, why am I the only guy who no girl talks to, right? Or women, why am I the girl who no man wants to marry or wants to commit to? They just want me for my body, right? Well, first of all, even by you saying that, you are basing that not off of truth. You are basing it off of your past, right? But you see, part of God's state is understanding that you can tell yourself right now, no, actually, I've never been cheated on. And I'm the guy that women cannot stop drooling over in the gym. So much so that the gym had to kick us out several times because we were banging in the locker room, right? Even if that didn't happen in the physical realm. Why? Because if you're not the mind and you're not the body, then that means that if you are perceiving this idea that you never get looked at the gym by the hot girl with the big ass, you are perceiving that with your eyes. So if you're only perceiving that with your eyes, think of it like a judge saying, yeah, that's not good enough. We need more evidence. Okay? If you can see it up here, that's all that matters. Because let me tell you a little secret, guys. You want to know another part about God's state? Right? Using that example of the guy who doesn't get looked at the gym, he doesn't get looked at the gym because before he even started going to the gym, he developed this identity of not being chosen. I guarantee you maybe he had braces in, kindergarten and they started making fun of it, brace face, right? And now all of a sudden he felt like he was the ugliest sack of shit to touch the soil of the earth, right? All because someone made him cry after they called him brace face, and because he identified with that emotion when he went home and his mom tried to comfort him with the McFlurry from McDonald's, but it wasn't enough. Yeah, it was a nice dessert, but the dessert... Hold on, stop. Daddy's talking. The dessert wasn't enough to take away that emotion. And because he watches Blue's Clues and because he watches Toy Story, he knows that, oh, okay, well, whatever emotion this character is going through, that must be who they are. And, there's nothing more than just how much money you make, how many friends you have, if you're the popular kid in school. And that's how they were basing reality off of. But they don't realize that when they were recycling everything that they perceived in their reality, they don't realize that they are just continuing that story. Now, okay, sure, maybe the braces were taken off and then they grew up in high school and they no longer had to worry about having braces, but the version of braces for them in high school was pimples, right? And then they started having pimples and then they started being called pepperoni face. Okay, but then they hit their 20s, they're in college, and they feel a little bit more confident because now they got rid of the zits, they got rid of the pimples. But now it's, oh, dude, you're not a gym, bro? Bro, you have the body of a 13-year-old, dude. Fuck, I mean, even my girl has more muscles than you, bro. What are you talking about? And then now he feels like a fucking ugly loser because, and you see, when he was called brace face, all those years ago, before his mom got him the McFlurry, right? If he would have said, no, actually, I'm the sexiest motherfucker on this planet, even our fucking teacher in first period is just dying to, nope, I'm going to have to call the FBI, right? Even if he was to say something crazy like that, or that, he is like the next sexual prodigy, right? Because apparently his physical appearance is a insecurity. If he would say that, yeah, he could be getting picked on in the 3D as Braceface, but then there's his mom saying, oh, I'm sorry, sweetheart, here's the McFlurry. He's like, nah, I got this shit. He's drinking water, okay? He's going to school. No matter how many times he's being called Braceface, in his head, he's the sexiest motherfucker alive, okay? And we've seen this before. We've met people in our classes, in our jobs, where they just don't give a fuck no matter what. I mean, I've had people where, dude, they're just over there picking their nose, eating their food and fucking shit is dropping out of their mouth in front of everybody, right? And you tend to ask, like, okay, wait, what the fuck? Like, this guy has the balls to do this? Like, why doesn't somebody say something, right? And you come to find out that they grow up and they have a lot of success in business. They have a lot of success in their relationships. And they don't look like this crazy model. They don't have this enormous IQ. But what is it? The way they perceive themselves. So you want to know the most important way to develop God state? Is to see yourself a different way. Now, if you want to go more in depth into this before they call the police on me out here, book a phone call with me. The links are down below.